Chapter 25. The car ride home is interesting. I just keep looking sideways to my grandma, and she just hums along with the radio. Grandpa is driving, and I see him glance at her as we open the truck doors, and she does a quick nod back. They were so in on this plan together. They play dumb, and I can play that game too, except most times I'm actually not acting. So, thanks for taking me to the doctor. I feel so much better now. I know I should be more appreciative that they hooked me up with Tiffany, but hey, I'm a teenager. Sarcasm is my middle name. Actually, I never told you my middle name, did I? Well, maybe some other time. It's a doozy of a story. Trust me. Grandma, I was meaning to ask you about that question you asked. Hmm? What's that? Remember the one you asked Carl? Let's see. How did it go? Something like, isn't your wife allergic to daisies? Grandpa starts coughing up a storm. That's right. I'm on to their game. Grandma asking someone a weird question, one that comes out of nowhere. They both know something about my habit of asking questions. Spill it, Toots, I say a bit too rudely. After a stern eye look from my grandparents, I restate my question. Um, er, what I meant to say is, Grandma, I noticed that just like I do, you asked someone a weird question. Why? The truth, please. Grandma looks at me in the back seat and nods. Yes, Apple, you're right. It's time for the truth. Let's me and you go for a walk when we get back home. Your father, Bear, and Judy are there already. I don't think they need to hear this. With a wink, Grandpa adds, Yep, my girl, it's high time you learn the family trait. OMG, I'm a voodoo princess. That can only be the only explanation. Okay, so maybe not. It's the longest 20 minutes back home. We come within sight of the house. I can see my dad's car there, and I hope it has aired out since the last time I was in it. Grandpa slows the truck down and lets Grandma and me off a few blocks away. Side by side, we walk for a few seconds without saying a word. Then she turns to me. Apple, my girl, you're right. We, no, I, should have told you this sooner. Much sooner. Right when I noticed you had it, too. Right after the time you told us you asked Carl a question at Dan's truck stop. It? What's it? Your questions you ask. The ones that pop up in your mind. Do you sometimes see things in your mind before you blurt out the question? Yes. My eyes are riveted to her. Smiling, she continues, Well, that sounds about right. You, my girl, have the family gift. You have it. Why do I think the clouds should part and the sun shine down its rays on me now? But no such luck. Apple, you are able to see one aspect of a person's life they are not living truthfully. The visions are a part of someone's life that is holding them back, something that they are not being honest about. Oh, okay, I sort of get that. Yes, but Grandma, what about the weird questions? The questions are a way that shows the person the area in their life they are clinging to, holding on to something and treasuring it, but it's holding them back from being their true self. You said something to Carl and to his son to show them something. So I sort of asked them the question, and the answer helps them to see themselves better, to know that they should get rid of, to know what they should get rid of. With an arm around me, she nods. So tell me, who has this happened with? Well, let's see. I think it was my English teacher, Mrs. Catterwall. I had some weird image of her reading a comic book, and I ended up asking her if she liked reading Calvin and Hobbes comics in the tub. Grandma just looked at me. And so? And so she is such a book snob, always throwing around fancy books she reads. Oh, Grandma, I get it. My teacher likes reading comic books, and yet she lies about it and tries to cover up the fact by pretending to be a book snob. Can you see the light bulb turning on over my head, or what? Why doesn't she just figure that out herself? For some reason, Apple, so many people bury their true selves deep in their heart. Our family, the ones who have this ability, help others to get back to the person they were created to be. We don't brag about this ability. We don't gossip about it. It is a great responsibility. I understand, Grandma. So, who in our family has this? Oh, it's not for me to tell other people's stories. I can tell you that I have it, but just a touch. And your mama had it. She was so gentle about the way she approached people. Looking at me, she continues, and maybe you should tone it down just a bit. Some people are more apt to take medicine if it's sweet. And we talk about the other times I've had this happen to me and what it means. Although she couldn't figure out what it meant when I said, I 18 to Marcia, the twofer, mean girl back at school in Minneapolis. Man, if I had only known, my life would have been so much easier. But I guess in a way, my crazy, whacked out questions are meant to help people. Somehow, I am part of a plan, like Mushin told me this summer. I needed to figure out what I was meant to do in life. Helping people seems like an honest start. But as we edge closer to Grandma's house, there's one more interpretation I need to talk about. One more thing that needs to be aired out. Carl. I asked Carl and Rav twice something about the singer Barry Manilow. Seriously, how can that help him dig out what is untruthful in his life? Barry Manilow, the easy listening singing legend. Think, my girl. Why do you think this is a question that he needed to hear? What was it that he was not being true to? And then it hits me like a ton of bricks, or actually like a ton of mixed cassette tapes. For all you too young to remember, back before iPods or even CDs, there were cassette tapes that you could record music to. Apparently, Carl must have recorded a bunch of Barry Manilow tunes to a tape and given it to my mom. That's what he was talking about when he cornered me at Dan's truck stop. Something about my mama owes him something. And since she wasn't here, I'd have to give it back or give him money or my necklace. A tape? A music tape circa 1980? Are you kidding me? All he wanted was the mixtape of Barry Manilow music he'd made for my mom? Whew. What's the deal with Barry? I asked Junior later, and he reels off a boatload of greatest hit tunes by Mr. Manilow. The Copacabana, I Write the Songs, Mandy, and I Can't Smile Without You. But, Grandma, really, how could asking Carl about a mixtape help him see the one area in his life that he's not being honest? And why did he think it's worth a lot of money? See, Apple, one who has the visions and knows the questions to ask is really one who needs to interpret it. What is it about the tape that Carl needs to get over? I look at her and know. It's simple. He needs to get over my mom. Maybe he really opened himself up when he made the Barry Manilow mixtape, and when my mom rejected him. He didn't want anyone else to know that he opened his heart to someone. Now I remember the box of tapes under my mom's bed. One of them must have been a tape that he made for my mom. The one with flowers and hearts drawn all over it. One he didn't want anyone to know about. The one that wasn't worth any amount of money. Just his pride. Grandma kisses me on the cheek and whispers, I think you got it. And the question I asked him about the daisies? Smiling, I answer, daisies were my mom's favorite flowers, weren't they? I saw a picture of them on her gravestone and my necklace. Carl needed to be reminded of his wife's favorite flower. But really, Grandma, the question helped him to remember that he has a wife, and it isn't my mom. Right on, Pumpkin. This is Grandma's favorite saying. What is it with family and food references? First, it's aubergine, aka eggplant, and then there's apple. What's next? Cousin Raisin? Uncle Cashew?